Hi everyone, welcome to our team presentation. Together, we will explore the theory behind transformational leadership. By the end of our presentation, you will understand what transformational leadership is, its development in the academic literature, and how it applies to the work that we do. We will apply this theory to case studies during our class discussion. To put it simply, transformational leaders use their skills to appeal to the motivations of their followers to accomplish intentional goals and outcomes. Transformational leaders focus on answering questions like, where are we going? What is our mission and vision? Why does it matter? And what will the future look like? The academic field started writing about transformational leadership in the 1970s. Since then, transformational leadership has become one of the most cited topics in the field of leadership. Our understanding of transformational leadership has evolved as new research emerged. We will next provide an overview of that research. Early on, the literature distinguished between two types of leaders, transactional and transformational. Transactional leadership involves an exchange between leaders and followers. This example is best illustrated by former President George H.W. Bush, who said famously during the 1988 presidential election, quote, "Read my lips, no new taxes." The difference between transactional and transformational leadership is how the leader operationalizes influence. Is influence achieved through an exchange or through an appeal for the common good? Examples of transformational leaders include Susan B. Anthony, who led the women's suffrage movement, or MLK, who led the civil rights movement. These leaders appealed to a higher order in moving us to act.
We have given some examples of transformative leaders and the qualities they embody: charisma, visionaries, inspirational, motivational, etc. But it is difficult when describing leaders who may hold these qualities and transform, but in a negative way. Leaders such as Saddam Hussein, Adolf Hitler, Darth Vader. So the term pseudo-transformational leadership was coined to apply to leaders who are self-consumed, exploitive, and power-oriented. Truly authentic transformational leadership is concerned with the collective good. As Nordhaus puts it, transformational leaders transcend their own interests for the sake of others. So what else sets transformational leaders apart? According to Nordhaus, charisma was first used to describe a special gift that certain individuals possess that gives them the capacity to do extraordinary things. Now, it is often described as an important characteristic that results in people being treated as a leader. We know what you're thinking. Charisma? I have that. And you may very well embody some of those key characteristics. Those characteristics are dominance, a desire to influence, self-confidence, and strong moral values. In addition, charismatic leaders demonstrate very specific behaviors. First, being strong role models for the beliefs and values they want their followers to adopt. An example of this would be Gandhi. Second, they appear competent to their followers. Third, they articulate ideological goals that have moral overtones, like Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. In summary, charismatic leadership works because it ties followers and their self-concepts to the organizational identity.
Another way to think of leadership is in terms of a continuum. At one end, you have transformational leadership, followed by transactional leadership, and then laissez-faire leadership. Each has specific leadership factors that define it, and a leader may exhibit behaviors from one or a combination of leadership styles. We will now consider the factors that contribute to each leadership style to deepen our understanding. Transformational leadership consists of 4 factors. Number 1, idealized influence or charisma. 2, inspirational motivation. 3, intellectual stimulation. 4, individualized consideration. The combination of these factors frame transformational leadership. Transactional leadership involves behaviors of contingent reward and management by exception to deliver expected outcomes or even achieve performance beyond expectations. An example is a parent rewarding their child an allowance for completing their chores, with an additional allowance for delivering quality work. Further along the continuum, you'll find a laissez-faire style of leadership, where the main contributing factor is non-transactional. In this style, leaders literally do nothing, as the name suggests. They offer no feedback and make little, if any, decisions. The status quo prevails. Further academic research expands on the factors that form a transformational leader. Research from Bennis and Nanas, for example, identified 4 common strategies that leaders use to transform organizations. These include delivering a clear vision, acting as social architects, creating trust, and being self-aware as a leader. Are you an exemplary leader? Research by Kouzes and Posner identified 5 fundamental practices of exemplary leadership. These practices include 1. Model the way or set the example for others in your organization. 2. Inspire a shared vision. 3. Challenge the process or innovate and be creative. 4. Empower others to act. And 5. Encourage the heart. It's important to note that these are behaviors that are achieved through practice and do not necessarily represent abilities that we are born with.
So now that we have explored historical examples and philosophies revolving around transformational leadership, what does that approach look like? The approach encompasses many dimensions of the leadership process, but in general, it describes how leaders can initiate, develop, and carry out significant changes in their organization. Transformational leaders empower followers and nurture them in change. They inspire them to transcend their own interests for the sake of others. They become strong role models and establish a vision while building trust and fostering collaboration. The transformational approach has several strengths. First, it has been widely researched. Second, it has intuitive appeal because it inherently makes sense to people. Third, transformational leadership treats leadership as a process that occurs between followers and leaders. Fourth, the transformational approach provides a broader view of leadership that augments other leadership models. Fifth, it places a strong emphasis on the follower's needs, values, and morals. And finally, substantial evidence shows that it is an effective form of leadership. Transformational leadership also has several weaknesses. It lacks conceptual clarity. It can be difficult to measure. It treats leadership as a personality trait. It can be viewed as elitist, and it has the potential to be abused. Unlike other leadership approaches, transformational leadership does not provide a clearly defined set of assumptions on how to act in order to achieve success. But there are ways it can be taught that result in a positive effect on an organization's performance. An example of this type of training would be one that focuses on the process of building a vision within an organization. We hope that we have given you insight into transformational leadership, and we leave you with a quote that embodies this style. Transformational leaders don't start by denying the world around them. Instead, they describe a future they would like to create.